happy campers? Spike.
Chris.
And we are geeking out. We have finally, I know it's been a while, you'll have to forgive us, we finally managed to escape the clutches of the evil Doctors 3. Dr. Scholl, Dr. Pepper, and Doctor. So,
Doctor.
Finally back with a new episode of Geeking Out.
I'm loving you.
How long has it been? 3 weeks since we recorded our last episode? Thereabouts.
No, before it was about like 2-3 weeks or something, and then we came back, and then
we're gone another 2 or 3 weeks, and then we're gone another 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, so
life
life happens, but hopefully we'll get this straightened out, and hopefully we'll be able to get through this somehow. Because I just spent last 10 minutes trying to get the camera to work again.
Yeah, the camera hates us.
The camera despises us, so. But that's okay. We despise you too, camera. Okay, Chris, how are you doing, huh?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I've done better. We've, my goodness. It's been a long 3 weeks, too, because we got through Thanksgiving. We got through the first of the month. We've gotten... finally found out what happened with court days. We'll need to discuss that here in just a minute. But apparently, if you're not from the Gateway area, you don't know what court days are. If you are from the Gateway area, you know what court days are, and you either love it or hate it. But apparently, right now, the City Council of Mount Sterling is not loving it. According to a report that cropped up in the newspaper here this past week, the city of Mount Sterling managed to spend something like $67,000 on Court Day, which is the big festival around here and it's mainly just people selling stuff. It's like a huge flea market. The city of Mount Sterling spent like $67,000 on it and lost somewhere in the neighborhood of $35,000. So they only made back about $32,000 in fees and rentals and stuff. Which is funny because immediately after the court days finished, the mayor was saying that, it was a great court days, great turnout, great this, great that. I know I was down there and I was like, where is everybody? Because half the booths that we normally have, and it's not like COVID's an excuse anymore, and didn't really see a lot down there. You saw the same piles of socks and stuff, but as far as local artists go, as far as local dealers, as far as local people, nothing, not even much in the way of the food services this time. And I know there are food trucks all over the place around here. So, as far as the city of Mount Sterling goes, y'all might want to start offering some subsidized spaces to local creators, local artists, local businesses, especially the small businesses, to get them involved in the festival again. Let's get the spark back in 23, but we'll see what happens. Nobody ever pays attention to me before anyway, so why should they now? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got nothing to add? Nothing to say for yourself? You live in the middle of court day every year.
I do, and I went down there because I was like, I have money. And it's been a long time since I've been to court day and bought anything from court day. And I went down there and honestly was disappointed because I didn't find nothing that really made me want to buy anything. Like, I kid you not, I went up and down those strips, and it was like, yeah, okay, listen, no offense against people that sell, like, like those mom and pop stores where it's like everything in there is like old, or handmade, crafted. We got a bunch of those stores in this small town. How they stay open, I don't know, because honestly, I don't see the appeal.
The boutiques, yes.
Yeah. And that's what I saw in a bunch of places down there, and I'm just like, I don't have no use for any of this stuff. Kids don't have no use for any of this stuff. This stuff is like things that I don't know. They just
The appeal of Court Day had always been this. Court Day was the kind of place, was the event where you could find things you could not normally find. This is why you smelled country ham every time you came within a stone's throw of the county. It was frickin' everywhere. But let's do a postmortem here real quick. Okay. Everybody I talked to, and I talked to a couple of dozen over the course of the court days, everybody says that the court day in Preston, which happened at the same time as the one in Mount Sterling, the one in Preston was a lot better. Understand, Preston is a mud field. This is not a joke.
Yeah, it's a mud field.
There's no concrete. Everything's in a muddy field. You have one way, I take it back. There's two ways into that little tiny town in rural Bath County, just south of Owensville. You've got one road that goes right through the middle of Preston. That's the only way in. It's the only way out. I would have zero desire to go over to Preston and look at anything. That's the reason why I haven't. I don't like trying to drive through Preston when it's not court days. If I don't have anybody within a mile of me, no traffic anywhere, because that road is a piece of crap. But anyway, it's not just Preston. Head south of Mount Sterling and go through Camargo. Go through Camargo and you'll find yard sales everywhere, court day weekend. Go through Jeffersonville, which is even further south of Mount Sterling, and holy crap, you have entire, I'm going to say it and I don't care who I offend, you have entire gypsy caravans down there selling stuff. There is a gas station at the corner of Main Street and Kentucky 213 in Jeffersonville. They were going to put a gas station in. They never installed the pumps because they ran out of money. And then they just abandoned the property. And you see there are all kinds of squatters who come in every frickin' weekend and just set up camp to sell a bunch of stuff. They even have a produce section out there now, for crying out loud, or they did. So
Preston is their court day. Everybody always says that Preston's court day is way better than the one here in Mount Sterling, and I get it to them, I guess. To me, no. The only time I went, because I was fascinated, because everybody says, "Oh, Preston's better. Preston's better." I went there. It's nothing but farm equipment. Animals like rabbits and stuff that you can buy, just farm stuff.
It always had a reputation of being the place where the gun sales went, because the city fathers of Mount Sterling, in their infinite wisdom, decided that no gun sales at Mount Sterling Court Day Festival. They all went to Preston. That's what kicked off the Preston Court Days. And so they finally allowed the gun dealers back, but nobody cares, because you can get guns where you're going to get ammunition. That's the funny thing.
Hey, I'm glad that they don't. No offense, but there's a lot of stupid people out there. I remember one court day I was walking down what I call Gun Alley, which is where they sell all the guns. And I don't know how many people I ran into where I'm standing behind them and the barrel of the gun is pointed right at my face, and I'm just like, duck, weave, duck, weave.
I like the ones who sit there and look down the barrels.
Oh yeah, I'll be like, is this clean?
You're smart and you're there. Anyhow. So my recommendation, it's the city of Mount Sterling, and I still don't live in the city of Mount Sterling. I live just outside the city limits now. God. It's I recommend getting together with the Gateway Regional Arts Center and coming up with some kind of plan. Everybody, you know what everybody's asking for this year? Where is Artist Alley? Every year, it's not even Mount Sterling National Bank, it has been for years, it's Whitaker Bank, would give up their little driveway there, and people would set up, local artists would set up little booths all up and down that driveway. Not this year, nothing there. Nothing there, nothing in the police department parking lot. I can understand that one. But you're seeing all these huge, empty, gaping holes in the court day. Last year's court day, if you went behind the post office, and there's a big strip that where the railroad used to be that ran between the post office and the creek, it was full all the way down to the other side of the post office. Nothing there this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking they're at maybe 40% capacity, maybe 50% capacity, just because of all the big empty spots all over the place. So next year, you guys are going to have to start getting your game plan together now. You need to get the Chamber of Commerce involved. You need to get the Gateway Regional Arts Center involved. You need to get your local artist community involved. Get your local geeks involved, for crying out loud. You got all this space. Wouldn't it be awesome to have like little events going off all over the place to go along with court days to appeal to people coming in? How about one nice big little convention for people who fly drones? I mean, we have this large park located just outside of Mount Sterling. Open it up to drone works during the Court Day Festival weekend. Open mini festivals around the Court Day Festival.
Ooh, drone racing.
Drone racing. What about big air dogs? Have you ever seen the Purina dog challenges on TV?
Oh.
Big air dogs where they go running off the platform and go as far across a tank of water as they can.
You know what? Maybe you should get a job at the...
They can't afford me. Dog agility challenges. And you know people around here go insane over their dogs. So a hound dog challenge. Hunting challenges. Go old school. Do hunting challenges. Do retriever. Do a cosplay convention. Do something. Make it an event again. Give people a reason to want to turn up because it didn't show up this year.
I would totally go to that.
But where do you hold it? What if you would have Now this year they had an art exhibit at the Arts Convention, at the Convention Center, or at the Arts Center. Have a cosplay out at the Clay Center. Do drone races. Do drone races out at Botts Park. Do the dog challenge out at Easy Walker. God, I'm losing track. And like I said, you've got little spots all the way around the bypass that are set up for this.
You just need to go to City Hall and just wait when they do those little things, town meetings, and just be like, hey, idea.
You know what? Don't even put the dog challenge out at Easy Walker because you have a dog park right downtown, right next to the center.
That's true.
They didn't do any parking down there this year, I don't believe, but there you go. You don't need that much space because everybody's parking all over town anyway. If we're going to get this, if we got over 100,000 people this weekend, I'd be shocked. I haven't seen the official numbers of people who showed up. Supposedly it's north of 100,000. I don't see how. Maybe, possibly it hit 100,000, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. So we need to start coming up with ideas and start thinking of them and organizing them now. But we've spent 15 minutes on this. Actually, we spent about 5 minutes escaping the dreadful doctors. So that's all the free advice you're going to get. Hey, if you want any more advice, call us. Okay? We're right here. I have organized gaming conventions before.
That is
Remember
true.
Gamerfest?
It's true.
I remember, the one thing I remember about Gamerfest, the one video game festival I helped coordinate back when I owned Gateway Comics and worked with the guy over in Moorhead, was the one girl who showed up as Amy Rose because she thought there would be a costume competition. She was crushed. Nobody else was dressed in costume. And so we just made her the queen of Gamerfest and just made her royalty the rest of the day.
That's true.
I remember you, kid. You really, especially considering I never made a dime off of any of that. It actually cost me money. Anyhow. So.
Very cool.
That's it for that. Now.
I like this. I like that.
It's something to do. I mean.
It's just, but that's just us. It's just trying to convince everybody else.
Hey,
That's the problem.
Here's the other thing too. Why is it up to why would it be up to outsiders to organize this when we've got so many civic groups who didn't? I'm not going to say they didn't get involved, but you didn't see any results from it this year. So, and then you think about the churches in Mount Sterling, Montgomery County. You got all these kids looking for things to do. Again, a gamer fest over the weekend at the Clay Center, where you just have games set up all over the place, and just go with it, and charge a nominal fee and stuff. Have like a costume contest, your cosplay contest, all these other things going on. Why not? Cosplay one day, gamers another, comics the next. Do a Gateway Comic Con. Oh, he's got the lights in his eyes. Did you see that?
I mean,
his eyes sparkled.
My landlord has an open space below me. Don't know how much it would cost to rent that thing.
More than I'd be willing to spend on it. Nope, not bringing the comic shop back. Comics are dead in this country, at least right now.
Arcade. I still think an arcade would be really good, because I don't know how many people always talk about arcades, and they still do, and it's a thing. I'm telling you, arcade.
You're talking. Okay, I'm taking my glasses off again because my sinuses hurt. You're talking about the Dave and Buster's and the Main Event, or even Chuck E. Cheese for that matter,
Yeah,
where you would have the arcade with like a restaurant attached to it. Because an arcade itself is not going to... $1 a game is what arcades are going for now. Oh, you'd be... Good luck with that one. You would need a token system where you would get like 3 tokens for $2 or something like that.
And you would have those claw machines that has like all kinds of different like stuff things. Trust me, those things go like crazy, and people are like addicted to, because it's like they'll place like the item in the claw, like one item, and they'll place it just right to where you have to spend money to just try to grab that thing, and it just keeps failing over and over again until you finally get it. And it's like, people spend money on these. It's amazing. I'm just saying, this town needs something. Sorry.
Don't mind me. I'm just trying to think of a space that would be big enough to carry that off. Best place would be to put it downtown, but
I would say right where that. Well, there's 2 old bars.
Yeah, you could go into Jose's. That would work.
Yeah. There's 2 old bars right there that.
Free ideas, guys. Anybody who wants to try it. Anyway, newsy stuff. Because before we get too far into the newsy stuff, let me give a quick programming note. I was going to do we were going to do an episode of Back Rack Video this week. I couldn't settle my mind on what it was. I was thinking I was going to do it on theme songs. I'm going to have to push it off a week because I'm going to be doing 2 episodes of The Chore of Duty this week. Both of them related to Elon Musk. Now, The Chore of Duty is my political show. Okay, one of those shows is going to be about where I think Elon Musk is going to be taking Twitter in the future, and I'll be talking about his past and what I think the future will be. I'll be looking into the crystal ball in both of these episodes. That episode about the future of Twitter is going to be on all the platforms. It'll be across Rumble. It'll be across Facebook and YouTube. Those are the 3 main spots we're at. The other one is going to be about the Twitter papers, the ones that came out this past Friday night. We are recording on, by the way, on Sunday, December 4th, 2022. I usually get that in earlier than this. But anyway, this past Friday, December 2nd, 2022, Elon Musk just releases a huge dump of documents related to Twitter. Okay. And it has to do with interference in the 2020 elections and the 2022 elections. I'll be talking about that, but it will only be on the Rumble channel, because if I were to post it to YouTube or Facebook, I would probably get our Who, What, Where channel nuked. So if you want to hear those hot, spicy, fresh takes, you're going to have to go over to our Rumble page. We'll have links up on Twitter because Twitter will allow you to talk about these things now. Unless you're Kanye West, who just got nuked from orbit.
He deserves it.
I actually felt sympathy. I actually felt sympathy for Kanye West because I know there's some backstory here, and know how easily he gets manipulated by the people around him. But gee whiz, yay! Get out of my life, okay? You're done. You're done. Yay, done. That's all that has to be said about Kanye and his
Kanye.
Kanye. Anyway. Okay, so, with the programming notes out of the way, we got all the rambling about court days out of the way. Can we do the news in 15 minutes or less?
We'll try.
Let's see what we got, because we got 3 weeks to make up. Just hit the high points, man. Give us the good stuff.
All
The
right,
good stuff. The good stuff.
Okay, listen. First of all, this is not good stuff. And what was that?
That was our sponsor, buddy. That is flat Pepsi from a Taco Bell dispenser. I swear, I don't know what was wrong with the taco. We had Taco Bell for lunch before we started this, and I don't know why, but the dispenser inside. For those of you who remember, like back in the 70s and 80s, remember when kids would get these little drink dispensers and you could put like a bottle of pop inside and you could press the little button and pour it into a little Dixie cup and stuff. And you could have your very own soda fountain. But it was always flat as all get out because you dump it all in, all the fizz would come up and everything. So by the time it came out the front, it was completely flat. That's what Taco Bell's doing with their Pepsi dispenser today. So, flat as piss. Oh,
well, speaking of flat, a lot of news here is flat, just so you know. Okay? Just so you know.
Okay, before we do anything else, Christy McVie did pass away this past week. I'm sure that's probably one of your news items. Do you remember? Do you even know who Christy McVie is? She was the quiet lady on Fleetwood Mac. And have you noticed, and since I've been a subscriber to SiriusXM, I've noticed this. SiriusXM has channels for every genre, okay? Rock, pop, country, classical even, jazz, all kinds of old stuff, new stuff, top 40. Every bloody one of them is never more than 5 songs away from playing Fleetwood Mac. It's like this on everything. Pandora, I could put Pandora on any artist. On Pandora you can define a channel just on one artist, and it'll use what you've listened to in the past to help guide you along your way. Every 3rd song is Fleetwood Mac. I like Fleetwood Mac, but I don't like that much Fleetwood Mac. Now that Christine McVie has passed away, this is all anybody wants to play is Fleetwood Mac. Then stop it! How about I hate to say put you on the death penalty because the girl just died, but anyway. Yeah. I'm done. Go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead. We drink my flat Pepsi here and move on.
So apparently, we're starting with the news now.
Hey.
Disney hires back Bob Iger. They got rid of Bob Iger, hired Bob
Chapek.
Chapek.
Stupid. What are you, stupid?
And then they got rid of Chapek, and now Iger is back. So, yeah.
Iger was the idiot who put all of these cancers, these creative cancers in place at Disney to begin with. Every bit of woke content is Bob Iger's fault. Every bit of grooming of underage children is Bob Iger's fault. Every bit of tokenism that goes on in these tokenism, race swapping, forced diversification, forced identification, forced equity. It's all Bob Iger's fault. Bob Chapek was the one who was trying to undo all this damage. And so as soon as the wokies felt their precious little fiefdoms being threatened, they tossed him over to the side and brought Bob Iger back, who said incidentally at the time he left, he ain't never coming back. He came back. F Bob Iger. FBI. F Bob Iger.
Yeah, so.
That's the rallying cry for Disney Nation, FBI. Tom, what else you got?
Well, speaking of
FBI,
Chapek,
Bob Chapek,
reported shifted budgets to cover up Disney Plus losses.
Stop it! That's a joke. That's a joke. No, that's a joke, right? That's not legit.
No, it's reported.
Is that really why they bounced him? He bounced him for. Hey, Disney, come here. Come here, Disney. You Disney. This is. Do you? And I think we've actually talked about this before. We've talked about this before.
Disney has gotten sucky.
No, it's not just that. We've talked about this before, about Hollywood finance. Okay? Any other industry in America uses what are known as generally accepted accounting principles. That means that theoretically, any auditor, any accounting firm, any financial firm can come in and look at your books and be able to read them and tell what went where. There should be double entries so that way you can match and make sure everything is matched and correct so that way if there's a mistake somewhere it's easier to find it. Except in Hollywood and government. Hollywood and government do not use generally accepted accounting principles. Government doesn't do it because they're in charge of printing the money. They don't care. They have, we can talk about that some other time. Hollywood doesn't do it because that's how they bury the bodies. You folks got to understand something. Hollywood hates paying residuals. They really do. They hate paying residuals, especially to creative types, especially to writers, to directors, to producers, to actors. They hate doing that. They are constantly shuffling expenses to places they don't belong in order to get something accomplished. To wit, not in the history of Disney Studio has there not been cross-contamination between the movie side and the television side since the establishment of Buena Vista television distribution back in the 50s with Davy Crockett. Walt Disney was burying bodies in Davy Crockett's backyard way back then. Universal does it. NBC, Universal, Comcast does it. Warner Brothers, Time, well, they're not Time anymore, but Warner Brothers, Discovery, CNN, all those guys do it. Shoot, Disney does it with ABC, ESPN, Disney Plus, the Disney Channel, all these other things. Every single one of these television studios, every single one of these movie studios, every single one of these Hollywood studios does this. It is part of the business. Bob Chapek did nothing wrong by doing that. They used it as an excuse to get rid of him because they think outsiders don't know the truth about how Hollywood actually works. They think they can actually score some brownie points by saying, we busted him for financial irregularities. If I'm Bob Chapek, I'm suing Disney into the ocean. I'm serious, there will be a glowing crater left in Hollywood at the Disney studios by the time I finish suing them out of existence. Bob Iger will be so radioactive, people will drop dead just crossing the street across from it. That's how bad. Bob Chapek, the lawyers are out there, they can't wait to take this one on contingency, especially knowing how much stroke you have because you used to be the CEO of Disney. You've got the stroke. Get in there and start fighting back. Now.
Nice. So, speaking of strokes.
Yay! Well, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum, you know.
Yeah. So, with all the Dominion stuff, what is it called? What stuff are like no longer Domain.
Domain.
Yes. Well, with a bunch of characters coming out of Domain.
The public domain.
Yeah, the public domain. It's
the copyrights ran out on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So apparently there's a huge list. So here we go. We already had Pooh, Blood and Honey, which I don't even know if it came out yet or not. I don't know. But now a trailer dropped for basically The Grinch, but it's called The Mean One, where Cindy Lou Who finds the Grinch killing her parents, and then she decides to grow up all big and bad and goes after the Grinch to kill. He must be stopped. Yes. And it doesn't stop there. We also have a Peter Pan movie that's going to be turned into a horror film. And, are you ready for this one? Bambi. Yes. And for some reason, people are taking these and turning them into horror movies. I honestly don't understand why. You can do so much with these characters now, but people are just like, hey, let's turn them into horror movies.
The problem is, if you make it if you give a character like Bambi a treatment too similar to what Disney did in the 40s with his movie, if you have a bunny rabbit in Bambi, they're going to come gunning for you. If you have anything that could even, if you put a skunk in there, they're going to come gunning for you. Okay? If you have his mom or his dad in there, they're going to come gunning. They're going to try to find, Disney's going to try to find some way to shut you down. So if they go the terror route, then they can say, well, obviously this has nothing to do with Disney. That was not our intent. Yes.
Okay, hold on. There is an SNL skit that can actually turn into a movie because it was made to look like a movie trailer called Bambi. Well, actually, I think it was called something else. But it had The Rock playing Bambi, okay? Who goes after hunters with all of his furry friends. And you had this guy who's pretending to be Vin Diesel to be a thumper. And he's like, I'm always thumping. It is, you can turn that into a movie. A real movie. The Rock. Please do that. I would love to watch it. I think a lot of people would love to watch it. It'd be great.
Don't do that, right?
Oh, yes.
Don't do that.
Yes, it'd be
John
great.
Cena maybe, but not The Rock. Okay.
It'd be great.
Okay, those properties you just listed, go back in reverse order. You're saying Bambi?
Bambi.
Okay. Bambi was originally a novel written by Felix somebody or other. So his copyright expired. It is not the property of Disney. Disney licensed the property. What was that before Bambi, you said?
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan is...
Which you can do all kinds of stuff.
19th century, and unless you're in the British Commonwealth, it went into the public domain. If you're in the British Commonwealth, you better not, because the king's going to roll up on you now. I was about to say the queen, but the king's going to roll up on you. Because there's a Royal Children's Hospital that has perpetual copyright in the British Commonwealth. But again, that was an original story, an original novel by, I can't think of his name, J.M. Barrie, I think. His copyright expired. The one before that, the one you said before Peter Pan, what was that?
Oh, hold on, let me...
Not Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh, Grinch.
The Grinch. That's the one you have to be careful about.
Really?
Understand. Okay, they're going to claim that Dr. Seuss properties are going into the public domain because it's been however many years since he first published this. However, the reason they're calling this the Mean One and not the Grinch is because they're right on the edge of a lawsuit. Because the Dr. Seuss copyrights are now being administered by the Seuss estate, okay, which is mainly set up for his surviving wife and his family. You can say that The Grinch, which was originally published back in the 30s, I think, went into public domain. You can say that. But the movie, the cartoon everybody remembers was made in the late 60s by Chuck Jones. Okay? Any visual elements from that cartoon are going to be defended like hell, not just by the Seuss estate, but by the Chuck Jones estate too, because they have an interest in that as well. You get anything in there, you call that dog Max, and you're going to get in trouble. You are skating on a really thin edge there, because that copyright for that cartoon is very much still in effect. So if you want to go with the stuff that Seuss did in the original book, and that original book has expired, but be real careful, because Seuss for a long time, when Dr. Seuss was still alive, Ted Geisel, he was kind of, he was iffy on, he wasn't that big on copyrights and stuff. He was a copyleft guy. But when he found out he was dying, he got real serious about copyright, made sure his estate and his attorneys were ready to go against anybody who would deny his surviving widow a penny of revenue. So you better be careful. Why do you think you suddenly saw all this Dr. Seuss stuff come out all of a sudden? Just over the last 5 years, 10 years? The widow Seuss is driving all this merchandise and licensing stuff out. She's defending her copyright. Watch it, pal. Mean one or not, you are in the crosshairs right now. So, just background information. The more you know. The more you know, the less you show.
Well,
Go.
So, you can call this whitewashing, even though it hasn't actually happened, but fans are like really, really, really upset with an interview that. What are you doing?
I'm really, really, really upset.
Fans are really upset about Antonio Banderas during an interview he did. When he was asked, would he come back to play Zorro, he said yes, in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he said that he would love to do just like the first one, where he's an older Zorro who passes the blade to a younger person to take the...
Because Antonio Banderas is something like 200 years old, yes.
So, when asked who he would like to see become the new Zorro...
Who?
Tom Holland. Fans were shocked that that was his answer. And fans are also really upset because they actually think that due to the fact that Antonio said that he would come back to do a Blade or Zorro movie, that Hollywood would actually take him up on that offer.
Would Tom Holland do it?
I don't know. I mean...
I don't know if they could afford Tom Holland or not. So they're upset because they didn't get a Hispanic actor. He didn't name a Hispanic actor.
Yeah.
Zorro.
But
Zorro is as white bread as it comes, but just like Speedy Gonzales, but the Mexicans have embraced it as a part of their culture.
But fans have already said that they're more upset the fact that Hollywood might actually take this seriously. And I kind of understand that, because that's what Hollywood does.
They're upset because Tom Holland would probably pull it off. Let's face it, Tom Holland, out of all of the Spider-Men, okay, look at the 3 Spider-Men we had.
I know.
Tom Holland is the one who actually got closest to what Spider-Man historically has been.
I know.
How familiar he is with Zorro, I don't know, but...
I mean, listen, I like Tom Holland. I think he's a great actor. But Uncharted, Nathan Drake, everybody said, that casting is a little eh. And then when the movie came out, everybody was like, he's not a Nathan Drake. He is not a Nathan Drake. I don't see him as Zorro. I cannot see him as Zorro.
Michael Keaton is Batman.
Yeah, but this is... But that's different.
It's
still... Listen.
But it's also taking a risk.
I mean, again, it does lead back to the whole whitewashing thing because, like, it does belong to a Hispanic person.
Stop.
I feel.
Stop. Right? I'm going to ask you a question. This is going to really upset a bunch of people. You ready?
Uh,
Who do more people know, Zorro or Tom Holland? In professional wrestling, there's this idea that there are some people who don't need to be world champion. Okay? Guys like Ric Flair, he didn't need to be world champion. He made the belt something people wanted because he was Ric Flair and the belt was on him. So they wanted that belt. Dusty Rhodes didn't need a belt because he was Dusty Rhodes. Does Tom Holland need Zorro or does Zorro need Tom Holland? Does the champion need the belt or does the belt make the champion? Curious. I'm just curious, how much is that Zorro property actually worth and how much attention... Consider this, how often have you talked about Zorro in the last 5 years?
I mean,
I think about 10 years.
I mean, that's true.
And now we're talking about Zorro for the first time in the history of this show. 4.5 years.
I mean, that's true. But at the same time, I'm looking at it like, I don't see many movies or TV shows where it's a lead of, Latinos. Or, hell, remember that show that was coming out, and not to mention the new Avatar, The Last Airbender live action show that is coming to Netflix. I was so excited that they were actually hiring Native Americans to play these roles because I feel like that you don't see that much. We always get, and I know people will whine and say, no, I don't get enough, black superheroes because, I don't, all that stuff. But it feels like we do. Or strong females, we get that. But what about other races that don't get that? I mean, we're getting Blue Beetle, which I think is amazing. And a lot of people think that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel the same way with Zorro and, these shows that is offering Native Americans actual roles.
Here's the problem. If you're black, you're accepted into white world. Okay? I've talked before about Whitey McWhitebread and how Whitey McWhitebread is running all these, quote, woke,
well, yeah,
black roles matter kind of crap. These guys don't care about Asians. Okay? They don't care about Native Americans. They certainly don't care about Hispanics. They especially don't care about Venezuelans after the way they voted in the 2020 election.
I know, because you always hear one race bitch more than the other.
Yeah, and so intimidated, Whitey McWhitebread starts writing them in everywhere, one race lift after another.
Exactly.
Native Americans are criminally underrepresented. Hispanics are underrepresented. Asians are ridiculously underrepresented. Okay, only Native Americans get less representation. Here's the thing, though. Why? Why are they being ignored? Why is Tom Holland being considered for Zorro?
No, he's not being considered, but it could be.
Like I said, Tom Holland is the champion making the belt of Zorro.
But it's time to have somebody who's not named that might actually become a new champion.
Right.
Like, again, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who's playing Blue Beetle, he was a dude off of Cobra Kai. But now with Blue Beetle, his name is going to be more out there.
Yes. And you build your brand.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if we're talking about Zorro, what do you need? Danny Trejo and Robert Rodriguez producing?
Oh, dude, that would be... I mean, I'm sorry. My film geek
I like Danny Trejo, but he is not fit for... He ticks the check boxes for Zorro, but he would be a lousy Zorro, and he'd be the first to tell you. He uses machetes, not swords.
He would be the bad guy in Zorro. Yes.
Against Tom Holland? The white bread Zorro?
Okay, let's get off the top. Let's go. Here's other news.
Let's roll through these quickly. We're already 45 minutes into this episode.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, okay. Details of... well, okay, let's move that one. Darn it.
Look at me wrinkle here.
I'm trying to find something good. Ryan Reynolds says he had a Deadpool Christmas script, but got looked over during the whole merge with, Fox and Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was supposed to happen. Margot Robbie was supposed to also do a spin-off of Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but that was canceled.
I said heard there's a chance that's back on again.
I did, and of course I just heard that like earlier today or yesterday, and I was like, I wrote this story like last week or the week before. So,
if you're doing pirates without, Johnny Depp, you're doing pirates without fans attending.
Yes, that is true. Do you have anything else on that one? Or?
No.
Okay. The Goonies house is up for sale for $1.65 million.
Which is about what the franchise is worth. So,
Yes.
Who cares?
I like that.
It's the Goonies. The Goonies are not good enough. You're welcome.
All right. So I want to butcher this name. I know I am.
What?
Well, no, I probably won't. John Candy. A story came out about John Candy.
You're going to trip
No,
over John Candy?
No, not her. Or not him. The girl. Okay. Well,
John Candy?
okay. John Candy did a movie called Only the Lonely. And
Go ahead.
you're messing me up here. You're messing me
Yeah,
up.
like I'm the one messing him up. Go ahead.
So a story came out that John Candy was doing a movie called Only the Lonely, where Marion Herrera, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Herrera.
I'm a few bars.
Anyway, apparently she's a big actress back in 80s, 70s, or 80s and stuff like that. And they gave her the small trailer. John Candy said, "How can you give this big time actress a small trailer?"
Because you were fat, John Candy, and you took all the trailer.
That
just step all over
was
your
so
punchline.
cold.
That
No,
step
that
all over
wasn't
your
even a
punchline.
punchline. This is John Candy we're talking about. Do not disrespect John Candy.
Well, that's true. He doesn't need the trailer unless they buried him in it. Here, let me see this name. Let me see if I can figure out who in the hell you're talking about.
It looks like a V, and it's Marion.
Maureen Farah.
Marina her.
No idea who that is.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so Maureen Hoo-Ha.
He gave her his trailer.
Marina Hoo-Ha. Okay, yeah, great. And that...
Okay, fine. You know what? No, we're just moving on. We're just going to move on.
No, I want to hear the end of this.
Disrespecting John Candy, the great John Candy. You're just like...
He wasn't as good as a Reese's Cup, though. Was he?
Oh my gosh.
No, he was not, because you cannot argue with that.
Don't you start.
There's nothing better than a
Don't you
Reese's
start.
cake.
Don't you... See what I'm working with? Okay, listen. You want to get through this news quick, and you're just like... stepping
49
on,
minutes and counting.
Boy.
Girl? Oh, let's not go there, son. Don't be stepping on
I got
the
3 cards.
graves.
I'm going to run through this.
Good. Get the runs.
There was a sequel to Bruce Almighty where Jim Carrey was giving a devil powers, and it was going to be called Brucifer. Honestly, I'm so in on that one. I really wish that would happen. It might still, but that would be so good.
I was never a big fan of those movies, but I could probably dig it.
It'd be pretty good.
Especially the way Jim Carrey's acting now. What a jackwagon. Anyway, go ahead.
So James Gunn says that there will be no more Batman. He says that it's too damn confusing to have different type of Batmans in different Batman movies.
Honestly, it is.
And that's what I've been saying for years. James Gunn, I love you. It's like you know what us nerds want. Thank you.
Going back to professional wrestling, there's an old saying, how can I miss you if you won't go away? Batman needs to take a nice long vacation from theaters for a while so people will miss him. And then when they come, James Gunn does bring him back, they'll be like, and we'll actually have an event movie at Warner Brothers for once. Wouldn't that be amazing? This would be the first, when was the last big Warner Brothers anything? And I'm not just talking about DC. It wouldn't be Lord of the Rings, would it?
I think the biggest thing, because I have seen like so many old videotapes of like how big Tim Burton's Batman movie when it came out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it made all the money that year.
It was like, and I actually remember how big it was because it actually did something in my childhood heart, and just like reliving the old commercials that I watched about all of that, and I'm just like, oh, why aren't these premieres like this now? Like, like, why isn't it like this now?
Because nobody knows how to handle it anymore.
It's so sad.
Everybody's got it into their head that it has to be driven into the ground or you're not going to drive it.
Yeah.
So they don't know how to build. Nobody understands how to build anymore. Nobody understands how to do creative support and stuff. Remember, I've said this before 1989 and Tim Burton, Batman was a dead franchise. Everybody on the planet who wasn't a comic book fan, geeks, chill out, everybody remembered Batman from two places.
Adam West.
Adam West was one. Can you guess the other one? You got one. Let's see if you can go 2 for 2. Where else would people remember?
With Justice League?
Not even the Justice League. Justice League came after 89. Before 89, before Justice League, what was there? The Super Friends.
Oh, wow.
With Casey Kasem as Robin.
Yes. Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That was a rehab. And that rehab worked, 89, 22, that's 3 decades. They pulled, all built on that one project.
Yeah.
It is amazing how much you can build just from one spark. You can really build that flame up. Batman used to be the afterthought. Superman was the big cheese at DC for decades. Okay? Batman was the afterthought until 89, and then all of a sudden he becomes the pop culture icon. He becomes the face of DC Comics. And DC, bless their little hearts, the little idiots, went and blew Superman because they didn't want to pay pay Joe Shuster or Simon what they were due for being creators of Superman. They blew that chance. They could have had 2 juggernauts. Superman and Batman could have run parallel. They could have taken turns every even-numbered year, and DC could have made all of the money. No, we had to piss away and kill Superman because we're tired of paying the survivors any money. Stupid, stupid, stupid. You want to talk about copyright things? Wait until the copyright on the original Superman wears out here very, very shortly. The only reason DC Comics still has Superman is because they went groveling to the survivors of the creators of Superman. They went groveling to their estates and just threw money at them until they said, okay, fine, you keep using Superman. Wait until the day comes, and somebody's made this point before, I'm going to alter it a little bit. Wait until the day comes where Simon's estate licenses Superman out to, used to be to Marvel. People say, what if Superman went to Marvel? Okay. And the Simon estate has the copyright to Superman. They license it exclusively to DC. They could take it to Marvel, but not anymore. Disney wouldn't do anything with it. They could take it to Image. Image is still a big thing because The Walking Dead. Image is still a thing. I bet Image would be happy to have Superman on board. And Jim Lee could come back and do nothing but Superman stories and just bury that sucker right into the ground. Anyway, just things to chew on. Okay, 55 minutes. Let's roll. I want to get this done in under an hour because we still got 2 episodes of the Chore Duty I gotta get through. And you guys will need to hear these because there's a lot of information coming out. Go ahead. Go.
James Gunn will also be, says that there will be a proper rocket send-off in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Mm-hmm. Which, yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Catherine O'Hara will be back in Beetlejuice 2. So I guess they're actually doing the Beetlejuice 2. Mm. But again, if it's not directed by Tim Burton, I am not interested.
I can't... I'm trying to think. Who could pull off a Beetlejuice 2? That's more Tim Burton than it is anybody else. So if Tim Burton's not there, it's going to be hard to pull off. Odds are they give it to Rob Zombie or something.
Oh, no.
Anyway. If you really want to depress a geek, yeah.
Trailers dropped Thursday, a bunch of trailers. We had trailers for Indiana Jones 5, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Cocaine Bear, which...
he is ecstatic for.
I want to watch this. Transformers, Rise of the Beast.
Here comes Beast Wars.
Yeah. Super Mario Brother. And Ant-Man Quantum... whatever. Really
Quantum Boogaloo or whatever it is.
Really don't care about Ant-Man, to be honest. I don't care. I really don't. I'm sorry.
I didn't care about him back in the first movie. But anyway.
There'll be an Easy Rider remake with modern times. Ugh.
You can't. You can't remake Easy Rider into modern. You can take the title and you can slap it on a piece of on a large cinematic turd and you can drag it through the mud, but that's the closest you'll ever get to Easy Rider because none of you have the cojones, none of you have the stones to do Easy Rider because you don't even have the stones to rip off Blazing Saddles. Don't even talk to me about Easy Rider, a bunch of punks. A bunch of pansies.
And the last story is Top Gun 2 will return to theaters for 2 whole weeks for Christmas.
That's cool.
So, yeah, that's it.
I'd be good with that. Oh, I still haven't seen any of those trailers. I haven't seen any of the trailers. I haven't even seen the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special yet because that would require me to go back. That would require me to go back on Disney Plus. Right now, me and Disney are quits. I'm not giving any Disney property the time of day right now. I'm just so disgusted with what's going on. I just walked away because it would be giving aid and support to the enemy. I just can't bring myself to do it. But having said that, I would imagine that one would probably turn out all right. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. What was the first one you listed? Was he just threw away all his stuff. Okay, Indiana Jones 5 is going to be a steaming dumpster fire. I'm just going to go ahead and review these without even seeing the trailers. Okay, Indiana Jones 5 is going to be a steaming dumpster fire of just whiz-covered crap. Indiana, why? Okay, Kathleen Kennedy. Seriously, if this movie turns out like I think it's going to turn out, Kathleen Kennedy needs to be strung up from the street light at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, or there will be zero justice in this world. There's your social justice.
I don't think you can say that.
That is satire. Ha ha. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Okay, I'll give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt. Cocaine Bear struck me originally as one of those one-trick ponies like Snakes on a Train, or Snakes on a Plane.
That will be the next one.
That'll be the next one. Snakes on a Plane, but I don't know. I did see the trailer for this. You forced me to watch it, and it looks more like it's a horror movie. This looks
it's a horror comedy.
This looks more like it's going to be kind of in the line of one of the Evil Dead movies. This would be like a Sam Raimi joint. With it, the vibe I got off of this one is somewhere between Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness.
Yes.
It can be goofy, and then it can be horrific, and it's just going to swing, it just grab you by the lapels and shake you back and forth.
The bad part about Cocaine Bear is I was really, really wanting to watch this and excited about it because I love true stories that are so wild. It's like, how on earth could this be true? And I love movies like that. But then I watched the real story of the Cocaine Bear, and it's
the guy who drops the cocaine out of the airplane is from Lexington, Kentucky.
Yes,
that's why.
And the bear just dies because it ate a bunch of cocaine and it just dies. So
it
it doesn't go on a
overdoses.
killing spree.
So it does say based on a true story, but it didn't say how based. So
yeah.
Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Is there anybody who still watches Transformers?
I don't. I gave up.
Super Mario Brothers. I'm getting kind of a Lego movie vibe from this. I'm thinking it's going to turn out better than people think it is. But they really should have given the voice actor for Mario from the games a shot.
Yes.
And Ant-Man Quantumania, quite frankly...
Don't give a shit.
Don't care. Never really cared about Ant-Man. He was the least of the Avengers.
I mean, the second movie was okay. It was better than the first, but I still just don't care about
I just had
Ant-Man.
a tooth extracted. It was better than the first Ant-Man. So
I don't know what it is. I mean, I think Paul Rudd's okay, but I don't know. It's like Ant-Man's just not really.
Paul Rudd's a good guy. Ant-Man.
I can give or take on
Ant-Man needed an edge. And Ant-Man actually had a bit of an edge back when he was, back in the 70s, when he was pimp slapping the Wasp. And the Oedipal references just flow forth. So anyway. So Chris, are we actually going to try to get back next week and try to do another episode of Geekin' Out?
Yeah.
You don't have anything that precludes you?
No.
There's no vacations. There's no snowstorms. You're not going to be camping out in Valley Forge and crossing the Delaware or anything? Okay,
what?
Good. Making sure. So at the moment we're doing this, we'll be back next week with another episode of Geekin' Out. Make sure, like I said, keep an eye on the Who What Where Network. We'll have episodes of The Chore of Duty for everybody, and then a very intriguing one over on Rumble, which is going to be Rumble exclusive because it's the only place I'll be able to get away with it. So, Backrack Video will return next week. Promise you, we're going to be talking about, believe it or not, we're actually going to be talking about Desilu, MTM, and why they are pretty much the reason anybody watches television sitcoms anymore.
And then the Backrack Video after that.
You got an idea?
We are going, yes, because we need to talk about all the movies and TV shows that we saw this year and count from,
Do the countdown.
Yeah.
What was worth putting on the back racks from 2022?
Oh, I already know what my number one spot.
I'll let you have it that because honestly, it's been such a blur I can't keep track. But until next time. Spike,
Chris,
and we've been geeking out, and you keep geeking out, and maybe we'll see you next week.
Peace. We will. Peace.
Yeah.